Hi everybody, welcome back to the Caterpillar generator repair series. In this video I'm going to start what I would call the heavy teardown of the engine to determine what's going to need to be done to repair it. I'm going to start by removing the cooling manifold, which is on this side of the cylinder heads, running up the heads there. Move on to remove the other half of the intake manifold on the opposite side of the block. Remove the fuel lines, the injector lines, the injectors, the valve train, push rods, rockers, things like that, and hopefully pull the cylinder heads. So I'll keep you guys updated on my progress as I go. Stay tuned. Okay, well, we're moving right along here. Cooling manifolds removed, thermostat housing as well. Pretty glad I did that. Got a lot of gunk in here. It's kind of wet too. I thought this thing was going to be bone dry, but gonna need to get all this rust out. Before we go any further. Yeah. Also, all the manifolds are off now. That was the only intake manifold remaining. Initially, I was going to go ahead and work on pulling the fuel system components, now the injector lines and the injectors. I think instead I'm going to go ahead and pull the valve gear, the rockers, the rocker shafts, and the push rods, so that I can remove the decompression cam, which is this shaft right here. I think all I have to do is loosen this coupler, pull these cotter pins, and I'll be able to, well, remove the lever arm, the linkage here, and slide the cam in this direction, this shaft in this direction, to open this gap, which will allow me to pull all the high pressure injection lines as an assembly. So take off all 6 nuts here, take off all 6 at the injector side, and just remove the whole thing right off the engine, instead of taking all that apart. Get to it. Okay, where the rear set of rockers is out for cylinders 4, 5, and 6. They're just simple. The whole assembly is held on with 3 15/16 nuts on these studs here. So really open the area up. Push rods are out, and the lifters, I guess the compression release lift rods, are out as well. I'm going to go ahead and pull this set here, get them out of the way, and yeah, keep on going. I figured I'd give you guys a little action shot here. They're sitting up on the generator end now. Pull the oil line. Swing right out of the way. On there. Just loosen them a little bit at a time. Because as you do this, you're letting the valves come up. So you don't want to do it unevenly. I don't mean this to sound like a how-to video, I'm just talking about what I'm doing. Of course, nothing's rusty up here, it's just covered in sludge, so everything comes apart relatively easily. Okay, now it was kind of tricky with the last rocker assembly. These here, I'm not sure what the technical name is, I'm just going to call them valve spring cups. Some of them are loose, some of them are kind of stiff. So some of them want to stay behind on the valves, some of them want to come up with the rocker assembly. I don't want to drop any of them. Easy. Whoop, push rod came with it. Yeah, these cups. These cups are a nice design, and I suppose what the purpose is to eliminate the when the rocker arm pushes down on the valve, to eliminate the side thrust on the valve stem, so that all the side thrust goes on the rocker assembly and pushes the valve stem straight down. A pretty neat design. Let me show you what they look like here. A little tricky. There we go. Oh, easy. They may even function almost like a valve rotator, but it doesn't look like it. Yeah, I'm going to say they don't function as a valve rotator. I think all they do, all their purpose is, because they're a nice snug fit in the valve on the rocker assembly, so they just eliminate any kind of side thrust on the valve stem. Probably just makes the valve guides last a lot longer. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and label, or pull and label the push rods and the compression release rods, and then go ahead and slide those decompression rods or shafts out. Okay, I removed this 5/16 nut and bolt from the center of this coupling here. Scraped some of the paint that was on the splines here. These shafts have spline on them. That let me slide the coupling to one side, well, pretty much so you can see that that's the only coupling between them. And now that I can do that, I've also removed the link rod to the actual decompression lever, and now I can rotate the shaft almost 360 degrees. That'll let me pull the cotter pin there, which I'm thinking that once I pull that cotter pin, I'll be able to slide the shaft straight out of the head and do the same thing with this head. Of course, I won't be able to go all the way because I'll hit the radiator, but I'll be able to slide it in far enough that I can pull the fuel lines out as an assembly. So, stand by. Okay, with the cotter pins and the spacers or the washers removed, I can slide the shaft back at this end. You can see there's the cut, so that the decompression rod rests into. So in this position, with the rod down in this recess, that would be full compression, and then you have, it would ride up a little bit to be half, or I guess half compression, and then all the way riding on the outer diameter of the shaft would be fully decompressed. So the exhaust valve being held open, you know, what maybe, what is that, an 1/8 inch perhaps? So, and I should be able to do the same thing with this shaft here. Push that in the head a bit and remove the oil feed line for the rocker shafts, and I should be ready to remove the fuel line assembly. Okay, well, the fuel lines, the high pressure fuel lines, are all disconnected from the injectors. Got caps on everything. Also disconnected from the pump. To my surprise, there was actually, you know, there's fuel left in all the ejector lines, and in all the delivery valves are all wet with fuel, or what used to be fuel. It's not water, so I'm hopeful that the internals of the injection pump look okay. I had to remove the fuel line clamp from this area here because it's bolted onto the back of the head there, but I should be able to just lift all of these out one-handed, maybe. Yep, just like that. So now I can just set this aside. So really all I have to do is remove the return line from the injectors, and I can pretty much pull the heads. I don't necessarily have to take the injectors out to pull the heads, although I will have to remove the hold downs for better access to these head stud nuts, but we'll see how easy the injectors come out. Okay, well, I've got the injectors out of 1, 2, and 3 here. They were surprisingly easy to remove. You can see clear down, well, maybe you can't, but you can see down into the pre-combustion chamber, and there's a small hole into the cylinder, but you can't really see into the cylinder. So I've got 4, 5, and 6, the hold downs removed, and pretty much all I did to remove them was get down here. Just use the wrench here, 15/16, and just kind of wedge up on the fitting for the fuel delivery, and you know, not hard. You know, I didn't have to exert a lot of force, and it kind of lifted right out, or began to move at least, like that. I was kind of surprised, but thought they'd be stuck fast in there. Oop, not even in the shot there. And then once they're shifted a little bit, they wiggle right out with a little bit of effort there. A little rust on that one, but not where it matters. The nozzle looks okay, you know, visually. So I've also been numbering them, which cylinder they came out of, just for reference. They go back in the way they came out. So alright, let's keep going. Okay, now we're getting down to the good stuff here. Gonna go ahead and pull off the head nuts here. I pulled out the studs for the rocker assembly just to give me some clearance. So yeah, we got 15/16 nuts. I think there's 13 of them, and 8 1 1/8 nuts. So I'm going to start off by pulling the 15/16 nuts first, and then work loosening the 1 1/8 nuts a little bit at a time in a crisscross pattern, and let the head come up. There shouldn't be too much flex in this head because it's a copper gasket. I'm not sure if it's solid copper or if it's like a laminated copper and fiber. So we'll just take it easy. Alright, well, we finally got to the good part of this operation. By the way, I misspoke. These large head nuts here are 1 5/16. I think I called them 1 1/8 earlier, but they're not. 1 5/16. So, got the head strapped up. Yeah, and I think it should pull off easily. Little surprise, when I pulled off all the nuts there, started to leak water around the gasket, around the transition between the cylinder head and the block here. And it turns out the block itself was full of water. Not antifreeze or coolant, it was full of water. So had no idea of that, because to be honest, I don't even know why I didn't think to drain it, but I just figured it was going to be empty for some reason. So probably drained 15 gallons of water out of the block and the lower part of the radiator. So yeah, that's interesting. Kind of concerned, but then again, not really. There's no water in the crankcase, so I don't know. Well, alright, so I'll put you guys on the tripod and let's see if we can lift this head off. By the way, the gantry here that I'm using to lift is homemade. I made it about 4 or 5 years ago. So yeah, that's what's doing the heavy lifting here. Oh, there's a head gasket. Looks like I'm taking some of the push rod tubes with me. Let me get over there and get them out of the way first. Excuse me. They just kind of fell everywhere. No harm done. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Careful. Be careful. Let's let the head hang there for a minute. I don't think it's going anywhere. I want to see this bore. That looks good. That one looks good. Not so much. Oh boy. Ah boy. That's a rough one there. Well, hey, I knew it was something was going to be wrong with it. Let me get back up here. Yeah. Beautiful wall there. Some light surface rust, nothing really at all. Dead bug in there. A little bit of staining on this one, maybe a little bit of moisture, but no pitting at all. It's pristine, the wall. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's gonna be interesting. Let me slide the head gasket off real quick. One-handed here. Don't want to bend it, flex it too much. Hang on. Stand by. There we go. That looks in remarkably good shape. And it's a composite, 2 layers of copper and fiber in the middle, maybe asbestos, I don't know, but looks in great shape really. So definitely that can be reused. Alrighty, well, now you guys see why I wanted to pull the heads. No amount of stuff down the cylinder, oil down the cylinder was going to help that. And I have a feeling that number 3 here looks the same way based on what the lower half of the cylinder looks like. So let me get that head out of the air. Alright, well I think this is going to be the end to a video here. It's been long enough already. Got some parts laid out here ready to be cleaned and inspected. Make sure there's no excessive wear in the rocker arm bushings. I don't imagine there's going to be any real wear. The thing only had 2,400 hours on it. I mean, granted the oil condition probably wasn't the best to generate that kind of sludge, but I think it'll be alright. Push rod's all labeled. The injectors. Don't know if I'm going to be able to tear these injectors down myself. It looks like you're going to need some pretty specialized wrenches for that, I imagine, with a very fine spline here, and then for the injector tip here. So I'll have to see what I can come up with. Might be able to find the tools somewhere. Also see if I can find any specifications for the cracking pressure for these. So, alright. Thank everybody for watching.